Ross Turnbull on CamGlen Radio.
Hello, I'm joined by Anteros. How are you?
Hi.
Thanks.
I'm good, thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on CamGlen Radio. You're playing stereo tonight. Have you ever played Glasgow before?
We have indeed. So our first ever experience in Glasgow was 2 nights at Barrowland Ballroom. We supported a band called Tudor Cinema Club.
Oh, love Tudor Cinema Club.
Yeah, that was really fun. And then we came back for more at Transmit.
Yep.
A couple of times.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
Tenman Trail once. Then we did our own headline show in October at King Tut's.
Yep.
And now we play stereo tonight.
Fantastic. So
Yeah.
you're well acquainted with the Scottish crowds.
Yeah, it feels like baby steps up as well. Like,
Yeah, totally.
I'm supporting actually.
Well, yeah, but in terms of venues, the Barrowland's like the peak in Glasgow, apart from the Hydro. It's just such a good venue.
I know, but the thing is, when it's not your own headline, it's a different experience.
Well, that's
you know?
it, yeah.
We did drive past it earlier, and Josh, our bass player, was like, "It's going to be a good day when we get to headline."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming, don't worry. It's coming.
That's the goal, yeah.
Don't
the
worry.
goal is Barrowland.
So, how did the name Anteros come about? Is it from Greek mythology?
It's more from the statue in the middle of London, which is the statue built after the god. But I actually didn't know that Anteros. I didn't know about Anteros until I saw the statue, and it was called Anteros, and I did some poking around and realised that it was a Greek god. It's like the anti-eros, which, you know, eros makes people who are not in love fall in love.
Yeah.
Anteros actually supports and defends the people who already love each other.
The god of requited love.
Yeah, it's quite a nice sentiment.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's fair to say the music is dream pop. For the people out there who aren't really familiar, can you explain it a little bit?
Oh my god, we keep getting asked about that, and it's so funny because actually, I'm
We
pretty
made it
glad that
up.
we did. Yeah, we made it. We made Bitter Dream pop up.
Okay.
Because we knew that we were going to be asked like what kind of music we were, and I feel like there's this like, as soon as you release something, there's this. I feel like we're obviously like human. The human tendency is to like just try and put it in a box and try and fit it in there and fit it in a category, and then that is it. But I feel like with art, you can't really do that. Like by doing that, you're sort of conditioning your own work.
Yep.
So we were sat at a service station about 3 years ago, and we were like, okay, what are we going to do when we get asked this? And we're like, let's make a name up. It took us about like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah,
We like,
there
just
were some
sat there.
funny ones before.
Yeah, we should have written them down. Actually.
Well, I was going to say, what were the rejects?
I don't remember. This was like 3.5 years ago. But like, and we ended up coming up with Business Dream Pop because actually, like, we are kind of like pop, but it's quite dreamy.
Yeah.
But then the lyrics are usually quite sad, so we thought that'd be a good way of like encompassing it. I mean, it's just another name for pop rock, really.
Well, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a bit boring, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
it's
pop,
just a little bit.
pop. And you don't have to
Yeah.
use the word slashes when you're describing things as well. Like,
Yeah.
slash this.
Yeah,
Yes.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, like, on the back of that, who's really influenced you?
We all come from really
Yeah.
different backgrounds. Like, I think when we were saying this, like, I think whatever your parents, whatever you get played to by your parents, that's what obviously you end up, you end up not recreating, but you end up going to or referencing.
Yeah.
I think Josh on bass, he comes from quite a Britpop sort of background, but he loves his R&B.
Yeah,
Jackson
Yeah.
comes from quite a rock background. Anything that's miserable,
But we have
Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah.
mutual ones that
Yeah.
we all go, like, okay, we all like, love the Killers.
Yeah.
We all
Yep.
love-
Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac,
We all
yeah.
like No Doubt. There's like a bunch of
Yeah.
fans that are actually like.
See, because listen to it, I've got kind of a bit of a Blondie vibe.
We
Yeah,
like
get
we
that.
keep getting that, and like I'm really flattered about that because I think it was never in the cards for us. It was never a reference.
Yeah.
And when the band came out, and I don't know if it's because I'm just quite sassy on stage, and I'm in a band with guys,
The blonde hair.
and I have blonde
Blonde
hair.
hair. Yeah.
But it's very flattering. I was going for more of a Stevie Nicks thing.
Okay.
Like, I was quite devastated when that came out because I was like, damn it, I wanted to be Stevie. But I'll take that.
But
think
Debbie's kind of like a branch off of Stevie almost, isn't she, in the way she kind of acts and performs?
Yeah.
I think the Blondie thing that also people always latch onto that because is obviously a girl lead singer, 3 guys, and I think the kind of dynamic
I'm quite
is
sassy as
similar,
well.
where you've got like
Yep.
a sassy girl backed up with like 3 guys.
Yeah.
It's,
Guitars.
Guitars.
Yeah, but we have like disco elements.
I think it's a live thing, yeah.
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 Yeah, cool.
I think, but yeah, purposefully though, I've like stayed away from like watching any like live videos or anything.
Okay,
like,
just because you don't...
Just because, well, it's not because I don't want to, but I don't want it to be. We're not another Blondie. Like we
Okay.
are our own thing.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Very flattered.
Yeah. No, to be honest, to be even...
Good, yeah.
Yeah, it's, all the things it could be...
Yeah.
So, you're stranded on a desert island and can only bring one album and a CD player. what would it be?
Rumours.
Yeah, that just finishes the conversation.
Rumours by Fleetwood Mac, I think, is probably like the one. And I keep having breaks, and I just keep coming back to it.
It's just such a good album.
And it's so dynamic as well.
Yeah.
And I think there's this whole conversation going on now about like bands and albums and artists and where they should be releasing albums. I think for us it was important to have the chance to make the album because we have a lot to offer in terms of like the type of songs. Like we didn't want to just write a bunch of breakfast type songs and just have an album full of that. We wanted to show what we had, and I think with a lot of Fleetwood Mac, I think you can hear the different songwriters in that as well. You can hear like there's not just one songwriter and there's not just one method of writing, and I think that's in our case. I think that's what we wanted to emulate. We wanted to have like not actually just limit ourselves to one kind of song.
Well, that's it, because you listen to Oasis and you can clearly hear a Noel written track and a Liam written track, you know, that kind of way. So the new album When We Land came out last week, and what I want to know is, what's the process? Is it the lyrics first, melodies first, or do you just jump all in the studio and go, let's get on this?
I think for us, the one, like I said, we don't have one type of way of writing. We try and explore things out of our comfort zone.
Yep.
We try different combinations. Like sometimes Josh and I will start an idea, or Jackson will bring an idea, or it'll be Jackson and me that start the idea. And I think that we don't want to be too precious with that because we, like I said earlier, we don't want that to limit what we do on a second record or a third record. The one thing I think we always go for is like the song. Like that's the priority. Is like we want it to be catchy. Like we want to write a catchy song. I think we'd be lying if we didn't. Like we like making people dance. That's the goal. That's the aim. So I think for us the criteria is it a good song? Like would you listen to this? Like
we don't really do anything in the studio without eventually some point mentioning how will this be on stage. Would this work at a festival? Would people go?
Well, that's the kind of, you've got to think of the bigger picture, hasn't you?
Always in goal.
Yeah. So it's stereo tonight, but where's the dream gig? And has there been any highlights so far? And if you don't see the Barrowlands, you're out the door.
No, I think. I mean, we've all got different ideas. I think I personally would love to play a gig in Japan.
Yep.
Just because that's where I lived there for like 3 months, and that's where I discovered music. Like that's where I discovered the Killers.
Yeah.
That's where I'd like get lost, and I think as well because you like the whole data in Japan situation is just non-existent. So I just wander around just listening to the Strokes or like bands that I loved. And I think that was a big turning point for me. I think it'd be quite a nice bookend to this sort of like adventure that I've been on. But I think commonly we all want to do Ali Pali.
I would love to do Ali Pali.
Alexander
I was at the bottom. I grew up at the bottom of the hill.
Right, okay.
To Ali Pali. So at school, like when you were 14, 15, if any band that everyone liked, you would just wait until they did Ali Pali.
Yeah.
And you get that like such a buzz of like all the sort of pubs around the bottom of that hill when everyone makes that trip up the hill. I'd love to just.
It's a nightmare, that hill, by the way. I went down, was it 3 years ago to see the Libertines? And I'd never before encountered a hill like that. I was like...
It's patronage. I forgot my English.
It used to be a dry ski
when you walk up, like it's like a patronage.
Pilgrimage.
Pilgrimage, right, okay.
Pilgrimage, yeah, it's like a pilgrimage up there because it's like the effort, you know.
I know.
I'd love to just one day, the headline there, sound check, go home for dinner, and then get the bus back up.
That would be the life, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think I think obviously like it sounds like silly, but the pyramid stage at Glastonbury.
Saturday night, sunset.
Yeah.
That doesn't get it better, does it? That is.
Yeah.
You've peaked.
Yeah.
You know who you are.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
So if you could go any gig in time, what would it be? So Beatles at the Cavern Club, Queen at Wembley, that sort of thing. Nirvana Unplugged would be my personal favourite.
Yeah, that's
That'd be pretty good.
I'd love to see Elvis
Ooh.
at one of his like smaller gigs when they used to play in the round.
Yep.
Just three or four of them, and then.
I think for me, like I was very spoiled. I saw Fleetwood Mac twice in 2015.
See, I wasn't going to pay the money for it.
Well, I got tickets for my birthday from our booking agent to go and see them at Isle of Wight when they headlined.
Yeah,
and I was like 3 rows in and I just cried the whole way through. It was just magic. But I think if I had to, probably like Madonna Blonde Ambition tour, like when she wore the colours on her boobs. I feel like, that's.
Nice one. So you've had 1.6 million streams of the incredibly new catchy single Breakfast, which we'll hear in a moment. But we do our research here. But how does it feel to be finally getting recognition?
I think when you're on the inside, it doesn't it happens very differently. Like we're not a numbers band. We don't really like. We try
You're not
not
about
to let
statistics,
that, No, and I think the dangers of that as well is you get caught in like you're like, oh, well, I'm just gonna make this kind of music because that's what streaming loads right now, and it'll guarantee me loads of playlists. But effectively, like we would like to be doing this until. Well,
It's just the phone.
we would like to be doing this like till we decide we've had enough. So, and I think in order to do that, you kind of have to try and stay like legitimate to what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I think it feels great, but I think we're so busy at the moment. Like we didn't really realise it, but we sort of fell in like from the start of the year. It's just been getting busy and busy, and actually like just when we think we're going to be home for a while, it's like, oh no, this has come in, and like you're going to be doing this, so. Let that last.
Yeah, well that's it. While you're in demand, that's...
It's definitely like baby steps, and like you say, like when you're on the inside of something, like you're in a band, like it is your life. Like it's always a big thing for us. So it's only like when you meet like some random person who you're mates with, and they go, "Oh, I like that band." That's
I think the weirdest thing that's happened on this tour, like obviously we've had gigs where they've been absolutely incredible. Like playing our headline at Scala was definitely a milestone for us.
Yep.
But then we played like a really like we played to like pretty much no one in Leicester. Like it depends. It's very much something out of Spinal Tap.
There's always a day that brings you back down.
There's always a day that like touches you down, but you need that. But then it's been weird. Like for the last few days, like we've had like instances where like you guys got recognised at T-Bay service.
Oh, brilliant!
I'm such a big fan of T-Bay.
Yeah.
I tell people in London, you got to go to T-Bay for the weekend.
I think that's
it's a pilgrimage.
That was mad. Like this is the girl, she gave us like 75% off.
Yeah.
That's all right.
T-Bay's expensive, so you definitely.
I did say that, yeah.
And that's like the one thing about T-Bay. Mortgage my house.
Of course, other service stations are available. We must point that out in the radio.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Other ones are available.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
T-Bay's good, I think, just because when you're touring, like you either eat at Greg's M&S, which is also expensive on the road as well.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's just something quite nice about having somewhere comforting with actual food that tastes like it hasn't been sat in a packet for like
and there's lovely
months.
nature.
Yeah, and you've got nature. Yeah.
That's it, exactly it.
So it's always like
So on the website, you allow fans to upload their artwork to the blog.
Yeah.
How have your fans been such a big part in the run up to now?
I think we are a band that loves everything about being in a band pretty much. But mostly I think one of the things we feed off most is like the energy live. Like I think you look at a number, like you said, like you've had however many streams, but actually it's the people that show up and come and support you that I think that's and we actually make an effort to make the show special. Like we definitely try and make sure that we have that. Like we're quite active on social media just because we believe that it's fans who make bands.
Yeah,
at
totally.
the end of the day,
100%.
and it's thanks to these people that we can actually keep doing this now.
I mean, you only have to look at like Lewis Capaldi and Jerry Cinnamon and how social media's got them to where they are.
I mean, I remember Ed Sheeran. I met Ed Sheeran when he was just starting, and like as soon as the show would end, like that was what made him. It wasn't like record label that made Ed Sheeran. It was him, obviously his talent, but it was also like fans.
Yeah.
Like it got like because he didn't get a lot of press at the start. Like because he was a ginger kid, like. Do you know what I mean? Like it was hard.
Still
to
my
get.
act.
But and I remember as soon as he'd finish his show, he'd like sit on socials and like start replying to all his fans. Like he grew that himself.
Yeah.
And I think it is now these days. I think for us the live aspect is one of our favourites because that's when you can like when it's people singing your songs back to you. I think that's when you realise.
Yeah, that's when you kind of get that. I made that sort of feel.
We do this with girls. We have female stage invasions every night during one of our tracks called Bonnie, which is the single release prior to the album. And that's always really powerful. And I think the coolest part of that is having all these girls on stage that are singing your song with you. But it makes you feel like, because I'm the only girl on stage there, it's less of a, I'm a girl in a band. It's like, no, we're women. We're together. And like...
But even like you say, like interacting with them. Like the other night in Liverpool, we had the stage invasion. Everyone was like jumping up and down. Then when they all sort of like filed off, these girls just turn around and be like, "How's the vegetarianism going? Are you doing that?"
Brilliant!
And you realise, people, like you are interacting with people.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you care. You actually care. Yeah. I think as well, it's that whole thing. Like, cause we've spoken to people who have succeeded in music, and I think the one thing that like they always find weird is when people walk up to them and just ask them for a picture, but don't actually ask them how they are. Yeah. And I think the one thing that we're trying to be very conscious of is to try and maintain that human. Because I think that the second you have that barrier, then it becomes more than that. Like, I'm doing meets with girls, meet and greets with like a handful of girls at every city to just talk about, being a woman. And like just talking about stuff that's maybe not mainstream or maybe you can't really talk about. And I think it's trying to establish that connection. It's like, we're in this together. This is a you and us together thing, not just us. Because
that's it. Like, see if you met a celebrity in the street and it's a photo, it almost makes them kind of a robot almost.
Yeah, exactly. Like an avatar.
Yeah. Which is not really the way to be. They are a human being at the end of the day, aren't they?
People say something a bit interesting. Like, we had like in Liverpool a couple of younger guys who were like, "Oh, I really like your drumming." Ask you like interesting questions about that, and you think, "Oh, right, fair enough." Like you're having a good chat here. Like we're actually
totally.
And the next time you come back and you remember, and then you pick up like, "How are you? What's been going on?"
Yeah.
Like, we do have like relationships with people.
Yeah.
Totally, man. That's the way to do it. Like,
we sell our own merch at the end of every show as well. I think it's quite nice to just know the people that listen to you, like know your
fan base,
market, know who you're. I think the coolest thing for us, one of the coolest things as well, has been seeing like how many like mums and their daughters come to shows together. Like,
that's
like
cool.
I'm fully grown women and fully grown daughters, not like parents. But that's been really nice to watch because I used to go to gigs with my mum. That it was quite nice.
I never used to go. I got my music taste from my mum, really, but I never went to gigs with my mum.
So the first gig I ever got taken to was the Rolling Stones when I was 13.
That is ridiculously good.
Yeah, and my mum took me there. She was like, "You need to come see these guys because they're probably going to retire soon," which is obviously funny because they're still going.
Yeah, well, I saw them last year in Edinburgh.
Yeah, exactly. But she's like, "You have to see this." But it was Chrissy Hynde and the Pretenders were supporting. I think that's what changed. Like that's what opened. Like that's what made something tick in my.
So that's your moment. Have you had a moment that just kind of like you go, that's music?
Yeah, I think when I was about must have been 9 or 10. Oh, my dad was a massive fan of U2.
Right.
He still was a massive fan of U2. And I got really into them as well. I was a big fan of Larry Mullen. And then they were playing, it was the last night they were doing Twickenham Stadium, and it was obviously sold out. And my dad was like, "Oh, I don't know, should we go? And then, literally that afternoon, I was like, let's just go. Drove down there, bought some tickets off a ticket tout, which obviously is bad, shouldn't do that. But we did. And then got in, and that was like the show element of music. I'd never seen a show like that. Like, that was what I was like, that's what I want to do. Like, music's one thing, but doing it, putting on like an actual show, and I think we all kind of along those lines. Like, we all, it's
like there's no limit.
Yeah,
like we all don't.
You can't just shuffle on and play the song.
No.
Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
No, like there's an element of that we want, and I think there's also like when people ask like what are the goals are. I mean, I think the sky's the limit. Like, I think that's one thing that we all have in common is that we don't really like. We're in this for the long run.
That's it. Music, like you can go as far as you want. It's not like if you worked in a company, if you're the manager, you're not really going to go any higher than that. If music, you can.
It's okay to have those ambitions.
Of course it is.
As long as you're not arrogant about what you expect. There's nothing wrong with saying we want to do this one day.
It's about how much you want to push yourself.
Yeah, exactly. How much you're willing to put into it.
And how much, because I think like doing this for a living, I think there's amazing perks of doing this, but there's also like the side of it where there's a lot of sacrifice. You know, you miss a lot of your friends' birthdays and engagements, weddings, anything, everything, anything and everything. I think we are each other's family in a way in terms of that, and we are each other's best mates because we get it and like.
And it's like because the last 2 months we've been on tour. We went to America, press, and all this, and we have so many people that work with us, and everyone's like so amazing that our management, etc. But the only people who see the whole thing is us. You know, even people that work.
Phoebe.
Well, Phoebe sees a lot, but even still, do you know what I mean? Like, the only people who see literally everything is us four, because it'll be like, okay, we're doing this tour with these people, and you know, it is weird, you know.
Totally.
So I think as long as you're willing to put the work in,
you'll get the rewards. Yeah. So I think everyone wants to know, being an upcoming band in the middle of a massive UK tour, are there any funny stories you can tell me? Mind, keep it radio friendly.
We're not that.
No?
We're like dorky.
Okay.
So it's like imagine going on tour with the In-Betweeners.
Right.
In 2019 at a pool.
How do you all fit in the Hawaii Chinkachena?
Well, we used to. We had a different Fiat before, but we had a tiny Was it Panda? We had a Fiat Panda with 4 of us and half a backline.
Yeah.
Going around the UK. Yeah.
Lord.
Got a van now. But
We've slugged it properly. Like
I
there's been no we've gone step by step, and like every little I think it makes you like we still share rooms, like still 2 and 2s.
The excitement about what happened one night on the tour of the Premier Inn is
it's just
luxury.
Yeah, or like I said, I mean, there's a reason why we just get excited about T-Bay, for example. Like small things, but I think that allows for like stories. I don't know what stories we have.
For this tour is
well, you're vegetarian for a week.
That's been going quite
well. So Harry, we're really proud of Harry. Like we're our single Drive On we released. It was about like plastic pollution.
Yep.
In specific the Great Pacific garbage patch.
Okay.
But we've all been trying to make more effort to like just be a bit more conscious about the impact that we are having on the environment. Obviously, touring is quite bad for carbon emissions. And venues, you get given like so many little silly plastic bottles. That
Yeah,
you don't actually,
you don't need them.
You don't need. Yeah, we'd just be fine with fountains. But anyway, that's a whole different subject.
Yep.
But Harry's doing his bit for the environment. Harry's the biggest meat eater in the band, and he's doing a week veggie.
Yeah.
Veggie week.
Got them.
Yeah.
You've got your medal
stolen
on.
you a little medal there.
The winner's medal. So
I think we were giving them out to children, but you've stolen one.
Yeah, like I said, it's not like a rock and roll. I think it's more just trying to do our bit.
I'll tell you a quick one that's quite funny. We were in Italy last month, and you, in driving Italy, you're constantly going through tolls every 10 minutes.
Yep.
So the van goes through the toll.
So first of all, Josh, he's like Will.
Definitely
from the In-Betweeners.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a Will character, glasses, you know.
Very organised.
He's
been dabbling in a little bit of Italian, so he's like, obviously looking for a chance to use it. And
he's not been dabbling, I think.
This has already got
he likes to think.
So we pull up at this, and obviously we're on the wrong side, so we have to open the back door to do the thing. And this machine is just going in Italian, drive through or don't drive through.
That's it. Italian, yeah.
And then Josh gets out the van and goes, I can sort this. He thinks it's like an intercom to someone in the office, so he's going, hello, grazie mille, the van. We're going to the thing, and then
we're all like in fits of laughter, and they're going, we can't break. This goes on for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, and he's just having a chat with it.
Like,
and I'm going,
oh no.
I'm sure that's just the.
He just keeps saying the same, and he gets very stressed.
Yeah.
So he's getting really irate, but it's long
Stuff
chase,
like
small things.
Yeah, just little tiny things that are,
I think the best story we've got from tour was when oh god, this was the first time we had a TM, a driver / TM, and it was this guy that they'd sent us, and like he'd never done it before. Like I don't think he'd done music before. Like he seemed to think that drummers just have the one pair of sticks that they just use forever.
Never done a van before either.
No,
oh, right, okay.
Let alone a van in Europe.
Oh,
so
the recipe for disaster.
Oh well, we have a million stories about this, but the one that stands out was we're on our way back. So we'd stolen some garden gnomes from a supermarket, like massive garden gnomes. To be fair, the woman behind the till knew we stole them, so technically is that like stealing? Anyway, so we'd gathered like a collection of things, memorabilia from this tour. We've been on tour for like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Right. 2 months. Anyway, we're in this van and we're at the border, and there's this like we're at the Calais, and there's these massive policemen with like machine guns, and like they open the van and I'm like, they're blatantly gonna think we've got drugs hidden in these gnomes. Like it's just four people in this van and
with a load of gnomes.
We've got gnomes strapped into the seatbelts. They're gonna think it's drugs. Anyway, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. The van door opens and these really stern military armed police are looking into the van, and they just see us, and we're all just sat there like waving, and they just start crying with laughter, like with all these gnomes strapped in, and we're all just like there looking really, really like, hi, don't
shoot us.
Oh yeah, fine. Anyway, they let us through, and this guy, after at this point he's like driven in the wrong direction through Holland, like been stopped by the police about 1 million times. Everyone kept thinking he was drunk because he was just driving so erratically. He leaves us at the border to go and give our passports. And you know how the van has to wait, like usually transport has to wait on the other side of the passport control. Yeah. Anyway, we walk out of passport control and we see our van just driving into the sunset with all our gear in it, and we're just stood in Calais like
kitchen.
Yeah. So I just run in, I'm like, our tour manager's just driven off without us, what should we do? And the guy just goes, fire him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you have to have an army escort back.
Army escort
back.
We didn't speak to him.
I can't imagine you would, to be honest with you, after that.
And we dropped him off at the closest McDonald's on the way back.
And he tried to drive himself home after that. He had enough of us.
Yeah.
Oh,
anyway.
Well. Thanks very much for joining us. Would you like to introduce your new single?
Yes. Hello, this is Anteros, and our new single is called Breakfast from our debut album, When We Land.